Hey guys, in this video I posed myself a question: can you survive or even thrive using just one whetstone? Just be mindful, I would rate myself in skill level at freehand sharpening right now at about 50%, 5 out of 10. So I'm absolutely aware that my techniques are not perfect, but I figure we can all sort of learn together if you see someone at a pretty standard level of skill practicing things and working away at it. So let's get into it. We're going to be sharpening this knife on the Spyderco medium whetstone. Hey knife fam, we are doing a video in this more less cool setting today, but it's a video that I thought would be best aided by my little USB microscope here. So what we're doing is we are thinking about whether you can use just one stone to get your knife sharp. And the one stone that I'm trying out is the Spyderco medium ceramic stone, which I understand is about a 600 grit. Now, you may recall from my first, my first few sharpening mistakes video that I made, that one of my main sharpening mistakes was starting on a 700 grit water stone. And I maintain that that was indeed a mistake. This could be a little bit different though, because this is a very hard stone and it doesn't have that water, the muddiness that I found really difficult to deal with when I first started. So this is quite a hard stone, so you can, push a little bit harder. It's just going to be a little bit more, and I've used it a fair bit by this point. It's a fair bit. It gives you better feedback. It's fairly easy to use in terms of an all-purpose sort of stone. I am wondering if it's coarse enough to do proper edge repair, because the knife I'm using does need edge repair. Now this knife, this is by Alex Strong, and this is one of my favorite knives, and he's one of my favorite knife makers. But this is very, very dull. I don't believe I've sharpened it since its first sharpened test and review a few years ago when I first got it. So this knife here is going to get its S45 VN resharpened today just on the Spyderco stone, and then maybe a quick paddle strop afterwards with a couple of those little micron emulsions on there. So let's get to it. We'll just have a look at the edge first and see what we're dealing with. It's got some pretty dastardly flat spots on it. It's definitely been used and abused, this blade here. So let's just have a look at how that looks. It's actually a little bit easier to show you with it less magnified. This is about 60 times magnification. Just a really messy edge. That's the apex there. It's still quite polished where it hasn't been colliding with stuff. That's probably still a bit of cardboard and wood and shit on the edge there. But yeah, just like it's wavy, it's been dulled. It's no darn good at all. Anyway, we will check in with this again later and see how it looks after a go on the Spyderco stone. Oh, and in case you needed, it's tearing the paper. It's actually still quite sharp down at the heel, because that's not really the part of the blade that has been used as much, I suppose. So we're looking at a pretty swoopy belly here, so we're going to have to be using the lift technique, either the elbow lift or just the handle lift technique, however you find it easiest. So it's going to be a little bit, a little bit more of an involved sharpen than like a completely straight edge or something like that. So we'll see how we go. The stone has got pretty mild loading on it at the moment. I've been using it a bit, but I have been sort of hitting it with a green pad and soapy water between every couple of sharpens, and there's no residue on my hand when I wipe it, so it's pretty good state right now. So let's get started. I am going to color in the edge with the Sharpie first, and we'll see how it looks after that, and that'll help me sort of figure out how I'm going in the sharpening as well. Make sure I'm getting all the Sharpie off the edge. And try and keep the angle, because I do believe I did this at 17 degrees, so I'll try and just keep that as it is. Show you what it looks like under the micro. Which way are we going to be going? This way up first. So that's a coloured in Sharpie edge on the magnifying glass there. It's just going to get all polished off. Alrighty, so we're just going to be doing some, and this is my technique so far. I've not got the confidence to do some of the more fancy stuff that you see, so I'm just still doing like a resting about half thumb, so doing the rule of thumb. Try and go a little bit lower because I'm trying to keep that 17 degrees. And as I push through, I'm just going to lift my wrist up slightly to incorporate the belly into the sharpening. So let's have a look. Alright, so I'm getting some of the edge, but at the tip I need to be a little bit shallower because I'm only getting right at this is the steel at the edge on the belly, so you can see I'm only getting right at the tip there. Yep, so just on the belly there, I'm missing like a lot of the edge, so I need to like lower my angle, not be as upswept with my elbow. See, it's just like still basically, you know, I'm only getting about a third or a quarter of the edge, so it's no good. But then back at the heel there, most of it's coming off. A couple of strokes probably have only got, so I need to shallow myself out just overall. So interesting to see. Let's get back to it. I'm using like a fair bit of downward pressure. I would say the weight of my arms plus like a little bit of strength from just my elbows, just pushing down. So I'm not like bearing my whole body weight down on it, but just enough to keep it pretty firm and secure. All right, so let's see how I'm doing. I can already see I'm doing a little bit better, but I'm still at the tip there, struggling just a little bit to get all the Sharpie off. But around the belly, most of that Sharpie's coming off. But just up to the tip there. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, see, I'm chickening out a little bit on the tip. And that's a pretty natural thing. Like I'm getting a little bit scared, having a bit of a poo pants about this point here, which is there on the blade. Sort of just got to be a bit braver and you know, don't be afraid. So that's probably need to lift my elbow just a little bit, but I'm trying to keep generally the blade on the same. There's like three axes, obviously in three-dimensional space. And on one axis, I'm trying to keep the blade entirely level, but then obviously on another axis, which is still just one of them really, which is where I'm lifting the handle here. And that is to roll the belly around on the stone. Because otherwise you have to start going like this, and it's just not as easy, and you're still not guaranteed to get the right coverage. You'll find yourself jumping up onto the blade face a little bit. Stone does feel quite smooth. It's definitely not like, feels nothing like the 400 grit CBN, which you can really feel doing the stock removal. So this is a little bit more on the side of like, you probably need to be a little bit better, maybe even a little bit better than I am to do this really well, because any stone that you're trying to do repair on, which is the stones that are going to remove the most material, fewer strokes the better. So I am basically trying to do a repair on this stone right now, and probably challenging myself a little bit, but I have got good bearing all along, except for I'm just not quite happy at that tip there. I'm just gonna try and, you know, do a little bit of this. There we go. So yeah, I'm still, and just doing this motion now, I realized that when I was doing these strokes before, I was lifting up still too high. So it needs to be down here. So very, very subtle lift. Very subtle lift is what I'm needing. All bellies are going to be a bit different. Now let's look at it under the micro though, and we'll see the scratch pattern. So that's the burr, you can see, like that's good burr there. You can see it from this side, really folding over. Lots more burr, that little thin grey line is burr. Oh, very goodness. I can feel it very decisive with my finger. Yeah. See if I can see it from the other side. It might be hard to show up because there'll be some... There you go, so that's the burr popping over the edge of the black there, the black Sharpie. Right there. Pretty cool. Let's zoom in a bit and zoom into the max and see what it looks like, huh? Alright, so that is the fully coloured in, yet unsharpened other side of the blade edge. So that is just Sharpie there. And that's the burr. Alrighty, so that is the uncoloured edge and the burr sort of peeking over it. A bit of raggedy bits of steel. But I've got a burr all the way along the knife, which is what I'm after. Anyway, let's sharpen the other side now. Lots of editing going to be in this video, I'm sure of it. So I've been finding myself pretty comfortable with, on the other stroke, pulling it towards me. That's how I've been finding myself landing, and I'm just going to keep doing that and see how I go. Trying to keep it lower angle than I initially thought, because that's what seemed to be getting the best results last time. Not sure how much of the edge I'm getting. Let's have a look. So a little bit too shallow there. So I'm being a little bit too over dramatic with my low angle. So not quite getting the edge yet. So let's bring it back up just a little bit. One thing I'm learning as I freehand sharpen more and more is the power of the words about, roughly, and ish, because you really can't get, like, I am used to being so, this angle is exactly 17 degrees, this edge is 17 degrees per side, let's do an edge test on it. To be happy with freehand sharpening, you just really need to put all that out of mind. You can have some abouts and some ishes and roughlies, and that just is what you need to be happy with. This steel is sharpening really well though. Like, this is a great steel to sharpen, and it's already got a burr on the other side, so really, really nice. I do believe I'm getting the entire edge all the way to the tip. Doing quite well this side. Now I've got the hang of it. Jesus. I've got the hang of it. Duh. Yeah, sorry. I'm still learning this. I'm really, like, I'm trying to learn with you guys a little bit. Like, I'm not claiming to be the best. I just feel like I'm picking up some stuff, and maybe if you are learning too and you pick it up at the same time as me, Cliff Stamp used to say, tell me and I'll forget, teach me and I may remember, and involve me and I'll learn. So might be one of those things, you want to do this along with me if you're sharpening. Just watch my videos as you go. And yeah. Because there is no real grace to the learning period of any skill, really. You're going to have all sorts of embarrassing little moments. And I try and be as unfiltered as I can with you guys, just to show that I'm not just using my best take all the time. I mean, obviously to make a well-done video, I edit and I take care to make my presentations look all right, but I do generally like to be shown being fallible as anyone else. Don't let someone's don't judge your inside on someone's outside. It's good advice, because everything you see on YouTube is generally our outside, and I do try and keep that in mind and show you just a little bit of the inside of me as well. Oh, I'm getting a little bit blue there. Goodness me. These last few strokes are just like a bit of burr tennis, and I'm hoping it's minimizing it nicely so that when I hit it with the strop in a second, it's just going to be the very last little bit of it come threading off. Cool, yeah, I can't really feel a burr on either side. Let's have a look at it under the micro, see how it's looking. Nice. So that texture is on the face of the blade, not on the edge. So that is the edge. It's just a pretty solid looking, kind of cloudy, kind of fuzzy 600 edge, if you ask me. Pretty uniform. This is just the 60 times mag. There we go. So that is the 600 grit scratch pattern there. Pretty tight looking, pretty nice looking, about what a factory edge will look like. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish it on this strop, and then we're going to go for that nice glidey paper. So I see it feels very sharp already. Like that feels like it might already slice piece of paper. Yeah, it's like it's got some steel on the edge still that needs to come off, but that is obviously very, very sharp already, so very cool. So this is a strop here. I've just got some 4 micron CBN compound on here, and I am just super gently. I'm not pushing hard on my strops. I'm trying to not over strop anymore. So just the weight of the knife. This is a Beavercraft strop I bought. I was going to make my own, but it's actually easier. Like I don't have anyone selling leather near me, and actually it's just easier to get this relatively cost-effective Beavercraft one. So truly just using this to basically deburr the knife. Maybe a slight bit of last stage polishing, but really just the weight of the knife all the way to the tip. Alrighty, pretty hard, like the leather's quite thin on this. You can get really sort of thick leather strops, which can sometimes sort of almost go over the edge. Alex did a great video on that a while back. So let's just see how it cuts. Zoom out a little bit. Really nicely. Whole edge too. Really, really good. Yeah. So that's 1 stone and 1 strop. Pretty good result. Obviously you can hone this in with several different stones. I've got the fine stone I'm looking at right there. I'll probably do a video on that soon. But yeah, really, really nice edge. This steel, I can see why it's sort of replacing S35 in a lot of places. It does sharpen really, really well, and it holds an edge really, really well too. So yeah, great steel, great knife. Happy with that. Yeah, very happy with the medium stone. I might just show you what this looks like under the micro, actually. You're interested to see what the stone looks like? Let's have a look at that. So let's find a piece that I haven't gone and... Here we go, flip it over. I barely use the other side, so... This is the stone surface. That's it at like, you know, 60 times magno, and then we're going to zoom in again to the next part that scope focuses on, which is really up close with those bits. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. Disregard, I think. Anyway, so yeah, that's a pretty decent one-stop shop stone, but I would suggest I'm probably at the upper limits of its repairing capabilities with this steel. This would be quite difficult to repair anything harder than this with. That was a fair bit of motion, and as I have said before, if you've got a harder steel, hit it with a rough diamond stone first if you are like properly reprofiling it. But this would be great as either for a really hard steel, it'd be great as like if you're keeping the same angle, like a re-sharpening stone. But if you've got any edge damage, if your blade steel is sort of more high end than S45 VN, so like on the scale of like wacky steels, sort of your M4s and above are probably going to need something a bit more diamondish as a starter stone. But these sort of like mixed stainless type mid-range steels are going to go pretty well just on this Spyderco ceramic stone, which I believe is about a 600 grit. So that's the video, a bit more of a nerdy one for you today. Hope you've enjoyed. Got a really nice new edge on one of my favorite knives, so looking forward to using it. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye.